Now, The Minutes is out on Monday, and When I Was a Girl is available now, of course.
Now, on the subject of albums, if you thought that downloading would mean the death of the compilation album, then, well, Alex will tell you that you are wrong.
You are wrong. 1 in 5 albums sold is a compilation. And now That's What I Call Music is up to volume 84, can we believe it? Which is the fastest selling album of 2013.
Well, 40 years ago, another compilation series topped the charts by copying the Pops. Here's Cary Grant.
When I was growing up, Sunday was always the chart show on Radio 1, and Thursday was Top of the Pops night. Kids like me built their lives around these two events. They told us the latest music and also the kind of records we should be buying. And if you're a certain age, you'll remember you could go to your local Woolworths store and buy a whole Top of the Pops album of hits for the same price as a single. Between 1968 and 1984, these albums cashed in on the success of the real Top of the Pops by offering cover versions of the current hits. They became chart toppers in their own right. So who was behind these albums, and how on earth did they get away with it? Record collector and music historian Keith Richards is fascinated by the albums. Where did it all start?
It was the idea of a chap called Alan Crawford. He came up with the name Top of the Pops, which of course was the name of the popular BBC pop show at the time. So that was a masterstroke really, because most people, myself included, assumed that it was related, so the LPs were related somehow to the television programme.
But of course it wasn't Top of the Pops.
No, it had nothing at all to do with the television series, but amazingly the BBC hadn't trademarked the name, or weren't able to, so Alan Crawford was free to use the name for his series of LPs. 2 of the albums topped the album charts. I mean, the reason they were selling so well, of course, was because of their price. They were 75p, whereas a regular album at the time would cost about £2.10.
No New Year's Day. To keep the price that low, unknown session singers sang the songs. The voice you hear doesn't belong to Stevie Wonder, but Martin J, a chart topper you will never have heard of. Martin sang on over 200 Top of the Pops cover versions. But now, almost 30 years since the release of the last album, I'm about to go and meet this secret pop star. How were you expected to learn the songs?
You were expected to go out and buy the record, and you'd hunt around for the record and then literally write the lyrics down.
Yourself?
Yourself, yeah. If you wrote the lyrics down by hand, by the time you got to the end of it, you pretty much knew the song.
Was the recording process quite fast?
They would do 12 tracks in a day.
Well, I want to see if you've still got your chops today. I'm going to send you into the studio and see if you can still sing some of those old Top of the Pops tracks. First up, we've got a little bit of T-Rex with their 1973 hit single, 20th Century Boy. Everybody says it's just like rock and roll. It's excellent, I love it. The next one I'm going to give him is by this fella, Dave Edmunds. Good to see you. Hi. Back in 1970, you were at #1 for a whole 6 weeks.
That's right, Christmas.
And the song was called?
I Hear You Knocking.
This is Dave's original version of the track. Here's Martin's version.
You're knocking on my door. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
First thoughts?
I always thought this was a record that couldn't be covered. I think I'm right.
See, I don't think the record companies were very happy about these
No,
albums.
they wouldn't be. The publishers wouldn't mind, because they have to get paid, but the artists, of course, would not get paid because they're not on the record.
Should we go and see Martin? Let him out of his misery.
Oh, God, come on, let's go.
Martin has never met any of the singers he has covered before and has no idea that Dave is here.
I hear you knocking.
We've heard Martin. How about the two of you together? Is this a first? A chart-topping musician singing alongside an unknown Top of the Pops cover singer?
You went away and left me long time ago, and now you're knocking on my door. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in.
The final Top of the Pops album hit the shops in 1984. By then, a whole new era of compilation albums had arrived, and these hits were the real deal. Looking back, I'm surprised they got away with it for so long.
Wow, Dave Edmunds' face there. He didn't look too happy, did he?